Team sanctions are assessed for actions that impact the administration of the match, not for inappropriate behavior by players or other team members. There are two types of team sanctions: improper requests and delay sanctions. Each of these sanctions is assessed when necessary, meaning one does not need to occur before the other. So, it's possible to assess a delay before assessing an improper request to the same team. It's important to remember that all sanctions, including team sanctions, are enforced for the entire match. An improper request, or IR, is any request from a team that does not affect or delay the match. Some examples of improper requests are any request after the whistle for serve, such as a player entering the substitution zone or a coach requesting a timeout. A request that would result in a wrong player entry. A request by a team member other than the coach or captain. Because an improper request should not delay the match, it applies to a request that is not whistled. So, when the improper request occurs, whether you are the first or second referee, wave it off, but do not blow your whistle. At the next dead ball period, if you are the second referee, work with the scorer to ensure the IR is recorded properly. There is no further penalty against a team that receives an improper request. Any subsequent improper request by the same team during the match must result in a delay sanction. If you validate the request with a whistle, then a delay sanction must be assessed instead of an improper request. A delay sanction is given for any team action or request that delays the start of play. As noted earlier, second and subsequent improper requests in a match result in a delay sanction. The first delay in a match is sanctioned with the delay warning. As the first referee, show the delay warning by placing a yellow card on the wrist to the side of the team being assessed the sanction. As the second referee, do not copy the signal, only ensure the sanction is recorded properly on the score sheet. Any subsequent delay sanction results in a delay penalty. When you assess a delay penalty, also award a point and service to the opponent. As the first referee, show the delay penalty by placing a red card on the wrist of the side receiving the penalty. As second referee, do not copy the signal, but work with the scorer to ensure it is properly recorded. Now let's talk about individual sanctions. As a referee in control of the match, you should always do your best to prevent participants from approaching the sanctioning level. But even when you do your best job, there are times when a sanction is necessary to assist you to maintain control. Before entering the sanction stage, it is good to remember that minor misconduct offenses by team participants are not subject to sanctions. You have some tools that help you maintain control before assessing sanctions. Warnings can be handled in two stages: by issuing a verbal warning through the game captain, and by use of a yellow card to the team member concerned. The yellow card warning is not, in itself, a sanction, but is a symbol that the team member, and by extension the team, has reached the sanctioning level for the match. The yellow card is recorded on the score sheet, but has no other immediate consequences. Although a yellow card is assessed to one team member, each team may receive only one yellow card warning per match. A yellow card for one team participant is equivalent to a yellow card to every member of that team. Once you have exhausted your warning tools, or if the participant commits unsporting behavior, it is time to assess a sanction. Individual sanctions are for behavior by participants that is rude, offensive, or aggressive. Remember that individual sanctions are not assessed for a violation of match protocol, and that only the first referee can assess a sanction. But when your second referee requests the sanction, always honor that request, even if you don't know the reason for the sanction. An individual penalty is assessed for the first rude conduct in the match by any team member. The penalty is accompanied with a point and service to the opponent. When assessing an individual penalty, show a red card in the appropriate hand. Unlike an individual warning, each team member could potentially receive a red card once during the match. An example of rude conduct would be swearing through the net at an opponent or directing rude comments toward one of the officiating team. Expulsion occurs upon the first offensive conduct or second rude conduct in the match by any team member. When assessed this sanction, the expelled player or substitute must remain seated on the bench and may not play for the remainder of the set. Any other expelled team member, for example a member of the coaching staff, must leave the playing area and bench and warm-up area for the remainder of the set. An expelled player is still subject to further sanction. When assessing an expulsion, show a red and yellow card held together in the appropriate hand. It is important to remember that no further penalty accompanies an expulsion. The opponent does not receive a penalty point or service due to the sanction. Disqualification occurs on the first physical attack or implied or threatened aggression, the second offensive conduct, or the third rude conduct by any team member. The disqualified team member must leave the playing area, bench, and warm-up and spectator area for the remainder of the match. To assess a disqualification, hold the yellow card in one hand and the red card in the other. It does not matter which card is in which hand. And, like an expulsion, no further penalty occurs with disqualification. Let's go over the procedure for assessing a sanction. Remember that only the first referee can assess sanctions, but will always do so when requested to by the second referee. When the sanction is assessed to a player on the court, first whistle and call the guilty player to the stand. Clearly and concisely explain to the player the reason for the sanction and then display the appropriate card. When the sanction assessed is a red card penalty, remember to then signal the team to serve next. When the sanction is assessed to a team member on the bench, first whistle and call the captain to the stand. Inform the captain which team member is receiving the sanction and the reason for the sanction. Lastly, display the appropriate card, and if the sanction is a penalty, remember to signal the team to serve next. The captain should quickly inform the team member of the sanction. When notified, the sanctioned team member should raise a hand in acknowledgement. When assessing a delay sanction, first whistle and call the captain to the stand. Inform the captain of the reason for the sanction and ask the captain to quickly inform the coach if necessary. Then show the appropriate signal, followed by the team to serve next signal, if you're assessing a delay penalty. Here are some things to remember when assessing a sanction, whether it is an individual or team sanction. Verbal warnings and individual yellow cards are not sanctions. They are warnings and should be used to control behavior. Verbal warnings can be given as often as necessary and can be given even after an individual sanction has been assessed. The individual yellow card is recorded in the sanction box for an individual team member, but it is a warning, not a sanction. A yellow card warning can be given after any other sanction if the player being assessed the warning has not already received a sanction. A player who has been assessed a sanction cannot receive a yellow card warning later in the same match. Only one yellow card warning can be assessed to a team during the match. Use warnings to keep behavior from approaching the sanction stage. When warnings don't work, do not be afraid to assess a sanction. Only the first referee can assess a sanction, but will do so when asked by the second referee. When you assess a sanction, make sure the captain, coach, player, second referee, and scorer are aware of the sanction that is assessed. As the second referee, make sure that the scorer has all pertinent information recorded before giving the ready signal to your partner. All sanctions are enforced for the entire match. To ensure you are able to assist the scorer when necessary, watch the module on how to record sanctions, which can be found in the USA Volleyball Academy.